In this video, I'm gonna show you a few of the editing techniques that Ali ABDAAL uses in his viral videos to make them smooth and engaging. I will be using Premiere Pro and any other tools that are necessary for this purpose. So first of all, let us take a look at the paper tear and the background removal transition that he uses in one of his most viral shots, the halo effect. So first of all, let us create a vertical sequence and drag the video onto the timeline. We have to adjust the video properly so that it fits the sequence. Now just do a simple edit and cut out the parts that are not needed for the video. Since you're only doing a test video, I'll just keep a short portion. Now after cutting out the video, we need to go to the export tab and export the section that needs to be rotoed. So we'll select a vertical preset to export our video and just save it wherever you want. After exporting, go to runwayml.com. You need to sign up here. After signing up, you will see this dashboard of RunwayML. We'll select this option, remove background. So if you're using the free plan, you can only have 3 projects running at a time. So I've already used 3 projects, so we need to delete some of our old projects. Now we can go to the main page and click on remove background. Now you just upload the clip that you exported here. It will take a bit to get uploaded. Once the clip is uploaded, you can find it in this tab. You just need to drag and drop it onto this timeline. Once it is dragged onto the timeline, you just need to place some green dots around the subject that you want to keep. So in this case, I am the main subject, so I'll place the green dots around the parts that I want to keep in the video. So it looks pretty clean to me. I will just drag along the timeline to see if the entire video is selected properly. Yeah, it looks pretty good to me. If for any reason, if you want to remove any part of the selection, you can come here, click on the exclude option and just place a red dot, which will remove the selection. But we want to keep this part, so we'll just remove this and we should be good. After the selection is done, click on the export option here and we'll use a green screen as the background. So since we're using the free version, we can just export it in 720p, which is fine for reels and stuff, so we'll just go with it. After the exporting is done, we need to click on here the assets tab and it's still exporting, so we'll have to wait a bit. After it is done, we can download it from here. So after the exporting is done, we will click here and go to the home page. From here we'll go to assets and we can find the exported video here. So now if you click on this, the 3 dots here, and click on download, it will get downloaded onto our PC. Now we'll bring this green screen footage onto our project and place it on top of the original layer. Now we'll go to the effects tab and search for the ultra key effect. We will place this ultra key effect on the top layer and then we'll go to the effects control panel, select this dropper and click on the green color here to remove the green background. So now we'll have 2 layers. The upper one will not have the background and the bottom one will be the original layer and will have the background and all. For the ultra key effect, I like to keep the setting as aggressive. If we keep the setting aggressive, we don't get that weird white line along the edges of the subject. Now that should be good for the background removal part. Now that the rotoscoping is done, let us do the paper tear effect. To do this, we'll need to download the paper tear animation, something like this. You can easily find them on YouTube if you just search for green screen paper tear. Now bring this paper tear onto the timeline and place it in between the 2 layers. Let us drag these 2 layers above and create a copy of the main layer by clicking on Alt and dragging it like this, and we're gonna turn off the bottom layer because we're gonna need it later. Let's just keep it like this for now. Now we are again gonna use the ultra key effect onto this paper tear animation to make it transparent. We're gonna use the aggressive action again. Now onto the layer to the bottom of the paper tear animation, we are going to add a track matte effect. If you just search for drag matte key on the effects tab, you will find this. You just need to drag it and place it on the layer to the bottom of the paper tear animation. Now go to the effects control panel, and here you will need to change the matte option to the video layer on which the paper tear animation is placed. So in our case it is V3, so we will select video 3. Now you may find the background removal to be a bit weird. We need to play with the scale, the position and the rotation of the paper tear animation to cut the background of the head nicely. Okay, this looks fine. Okay, this is much better. Now you'll see that some part of the bottom of the background is gone as well. This is because the size of the paper tear animation was not big enough. So this is where we'll turn on the bottom layer like this, and for the bottom layer we'll select the bottom layer, and in the effects control panel we will click on this pen tool from the opacity tab, and we'll draw a mask below the animation just to keep the bottom of the video intact. So this will make the paper tear animation complete. I feel like this animation is very slow, so in order to increase the speed we will just click R on the keyboard. This will bring out the rate stretch tool. We will just drag down the clip a bit, and this will increase the speed of the video, maybe a bit more. Okay, this speed looks good to me. If you play the video, you see that this tear ends before the clip, so we need to drag down this thing till the end of the video. To do this, we'll go to the last frame of the paper tear animation, right click and select add frame hold. This will create a frame out of the last frame of the video. We can drag this frame till the end and it will hold it, and it will hold the paper tear. After all of this is done, now we need to bring the entire thing a bit down to have some space for graphics and stuff in the background. So to do that, we will select everything on the video layer, right click and click on nest. You can rename the nested sequence and click on OK. This will nest everything here like this. Now in order to move it down, we will use the position keyframes. I want the movement animations to start just as the paper animation ends, so somewhere around here we will start the movement animation. To do that, we'll go to the effects control tab. We will click on this toggle animation option besides the position, and it will create a keyframe here. Now we'll go a few frames forward by clicking on the arrow, and we'll increase the Y position to drag it down. This much should be enough, I guess. You can see that the animation is happening, but it doesn't feel that smooth. To make it smoother, you can select both the keyframes, right click on them, click on this temporal interpolation, ease in, do the same thing again, and click on ease out. It will make the animation a bit smoother, but I want it to be more smooth. So besides the position thing, we will click on this arrow, and this will bring out this graph. So in order to make it smooth, we will drag this thing of the second keyframe and do it like this. It will make the animation faster in the beginning and slower in the end. So it will be like this. It will be a bit smooth. You can play with these things and drag the keyframes a bit more to have the speed that you want. I think it looks good. Maybe just change the position keyframes a bit towards left. Yeah, this looks good to me. Now for the background, we'll need to find a dark paper background. If you just search on YouTube for some dark paper backgrounds, you can find them there easily. I'm gonna use this one, which I found on YouTube obviously. So I'm gonna drag it to the layer below the nested sequence. I'm gonna cut it off at the end because we don't need such a long one. Now we just need to play with the scale and the rotation to have it properly fit the background. After all of this is done, we now need to do the text animations. For the word Halo, we can just use a text preset from the Mr. Horse plugin. If you don't have it, it's just a free plugin. If you just search for Mr. Horse Premiere Composer, you can find it on Google easily. So we're gonna click here on Windows Extensions, and we're gonna open the Premiere Composer plugin. Here in the starter pack, if you go to text presets, you'll find this preset, scale from center is in. You just need to drag it onto the timeline. This animation looks pretty similar to what Ali ABDAAL uses, so we're gonna just use this. Now to change the text, we'll go to the captions and graphics tab. We'll click on the presets, and on the right hand side you'll see this option to change the text and the font. We'll just use the word Halo. Now we need to change the font to something similar like this. Thanks to the video of Satan's ring, I didn't have to do a lot of research to find out the fonts that he's using. You can just refer to the video and we know that the font that he's using is Temeraire. We're gonna use the display black version, which is a bolder one, the Temeraire display black version. Now we're gonna just play with the scale and position to keep it on the right part. In order to increase the spacing between the text, you can just increase this thing, the tracking option. It will increase the spacing between the texts. Now you'll see that the rectangle animates to highlight the word Halo like this. We're gonna create that now. So for that, first of all, we need to come here, click on new item and create a color mat. We need to select a color similar to this rectangle that he's using. Now you're gonna drag this color mat below the text layer, something like this. Now we can go to the FX control panel and use this rectangular mask and the path to animate the rectangular highlight, but I've tried it already and it's not possible to make the animation smooth when we are using this highlight. So we're going to use a different method. We're going to create another color mat. The color of this one doesn't really matter, so we'll just keep it as it is. Now we will place this color mat above our original color mat that we're using. Now we can use the rectangular mask to mask this newer color mat, something like this. Try to keep it straight. We don't need the mask feather we're gonna decrease it. We'll try to keep it bigger than the text so that it holds the entire animation. Now go to the first frame where you want the animation to start. Now for this second color mat, we'll go to the beginning from where we want the animation to start. We'll click on the toggle animation here to start a keyframe. We'll go a few frames forward and click here to add another keyframe. Now if you go to the first keyframe and drag it like this, it will go out of the text and it will create an animation like this. We can use the same method here to smoothen the animation like we did earlier, using the ease in, ease out, and then dragging the graphs like this. Now when you want the animation to end, you can just make more keyframes and just drag it out like this. Now that the animation is done, I'm going to show you how you can recreate this thing using these animations that we did now. So for that, in the yellow layer, we are going to make a mask which is smaller than the black mask that we created here. Let's just hide the black mask for now and create this mask like this. We want this thing to be similar to what Ali ABDAAL uses as the size. So this looks good to me. We don't need the feather, so we're gonna decrease it. If we turn on the other layer which we use for the animation, you can see that this thing hides it like this, and then at the end it will reveal it like this. We're gonna use the track matte key again to recreate something similar to what Ali uses here. So we'll go to the FX tab and we'll drag the track matte key onto the bottom color matte, which is yellow. Now we'll go to the FX tab and from the matte option we will select the layer where we did the animation, which is video 4 in our case. So now when you do the track matte thing, it hides the above layer and shows the animation something like this, which is similar to what Ali uses. You can change the blend mode of the yellow layer to screen so that it's similar to what Ali uses here. Now for the other text animation that flies in onto the screen, like you can see this one and this one, we're gonna create this text animation now. We're gonna use a different preset from the same plugin. So we'll go here, click on extension and open the Premiere Composer. If you open the text presets, you can see this one, position and rotate and scale overshoot. So we're gonna drag this text animation onto the timeline. We'll place it properly onto the position using this position values. We'll place it properly. We can maybe decrease the size here. Now on the essential graphics tab, if you come down here into this part, animation in, we can change the position value to change the direction of the animation, something like this. So here you'll see that it comes from this side, so we can change the position of the X value and maybe change the Y value as well a little bit. Yeah, this will do the animation like this. Let's change the text. So yeah, it does the animation something like this. You can play around with the values to have the animation replicate what Ali uses. and you can use these values to fix the position on the screen. So the spacing between the letters is not that much, so we can increase it by increasing this tracking value. You can also play around with the speed of the animation, something like this. The original speed looks good to me, so we'll just keep it as it is. Now for the other text, we can just press Alt on the keyboard and drag it above to duplicate this layer. Now we'll change the text from here and use the position values to place it properly onto the screen. Now the direction of this animation should be different, so we'll select this, go here again and change the X and Y values of the animation in property. So yeah, after playing with these values, you'll get the desired effect. This looks good to me. Maybe we can change the position of this effect a bit to the left. Now for the out animation of this two effect, we're gonna go here to the same essential graphics tab, and on the animation out properties, we are going to copy the same values of position from here to here. So since it is -1792, we're gonna copy it like this. Same with the Y value. It will make the direction of the in and out animation similar. Now we're gonna do the same thing with the other layer as well. We're gonna copy the values of the animation in property. So this way we'll have the direction of the in animation and the out animation as the same. The text stays for a very short time on the screen, so we'll need to increase the length of the text. So to do that, after the in animation is done, we will cut off everything, go a few frames forward, and we will cut off everything just before the out animation starts. Now we'll check everything towards the end till the place where you want the animation to stay. So we'll see that there is a gap in between. What we can do is we can select everything, hit R on the keyboard again to bring out the restretch tool and drag it to fill up the gap. Okay, there is some glitch and the restretch tool is not working, so we're going to press Ctrl Z and we're gonna select everything, right click, click on speed duration and increase the duration a bit more so that it covers up the gap. The animation is repeating in towards the end a bit more, so you're gonna cut that off again and we'll try to decrease the speed duration a bit more so that the gap gets filled up. Yeah, now it looks good. So the in animation is here and the out animation starts from here. The part in the middle, it was just the static screen, so we decrease the speed of the static screen to have it fill the entire gap. Now that our text animation is done, we are going to recreate this halo effect that comes on Ali Abdaal's head. We're going to need a halo PNG for this. You can just search on Google for some white halo PNG. I downloaded this one from Google, so I'm just gonna use this as the example. We're gonna drag it onto the timeline in the topmost layer. We're gonna drag it out like this till the end, and to have it appear as a 3D thing above my head, we're gonna go to the FX tab and search for basic 3D. We will drag this basic 3D onto the image, and on the FX control tab we can change the tilt value like this, adjust the scale to have it positioned properly above my head like this. To animate it properly over the head, we'll have to use the position keyframes. In the example, you'll notice that the halo comes when he's moving down, so we're gonna do the same thing here. Go to the beginning of the image, we'll go a few frames forward and start the animation somewhere here. So let's drag it here and click on the position, click on this toggle animation to generate a keyframe for position, and click here to generate a keyframe for opacity. Now go a few frames forward, click here and click here to create another keyframe. So for the opacity we can just place it to 0. Let's just keep it 100 for now because we need to see where the animation starts. So on the first keyframe we will decrease the Y value so that it starts from the top, and at the end we're gonna place it somewhere on top of his head like this. And now we can decrease the opacity value to 0 for the first keyframe, so the animation will start something like this. Now we can see that it's not smooth, so we're gonna do the same thing that we did earlier. For smoothing the animations, we're gonna select all the keyframes, right click, temporal interpolation, ease in, right click, same thing, and ease out. We can click the drop down option in the position value and drag the graph to make the animation smoother. We need to play with the keyframes a bit more to make it much smoother. Just play with the positions and see which one looks good to you. Okay, you may need to use a bit more position keyframes to keep it above the head, because the head might be moving a bit to the left or right. So let's just use a few more keyframes to keep it positioned properly over the head. And at the end, we'll use a last keyframe to move it like this. And for the opacity keyframes, we can just use the values 100 to 0 for it to become transparent. Now it's not moving properly over the head, so we'll introduce some more keyframes here so that it animates nicely with my head movement. Now if you play the entire thing, looks much better. To make the out animations a bit smoother when the halo thing goes out, you can do the same thing that we did with the in animations. So we'll just drag it a bit like this and drag it out a bit more to make the out animation smooth as well. Now if you play the entire thing, you can see that we have recreated what Ali Abdaal has used in the first few seconds of his videos.
This is the halo effect, and it's subtly influencing your thoughts with...
I haven't added any color grading to the main footage, so you can do that if you want, but apart from that, we should be good.